and Pranav, who has joined us for this episode too. So I'll briefly recap what we did in our first episode. So we in this particular journey, right, we specifically went on the plan and prepare phase of a data governance journey in our episode 1. We do not want to overwhelm public with a lot of information, right? So we have kept it into different episode where we will be doing it. And today, as we are here, we will speak more on data quality side and the discovery side of a data governance journey, which is a very, very important part of it, right? So Pranav, your before we kick off with some questions, your thoughts and how excited you are today evening.
At least I'm not drowsy today evening, Raja, to start with. But yes, well said, Shivesh, right? So we started with the plan and prepare phase for the data governance journey. And in that journey itself, if you have attended our session last time, the one of the aspect was the definition or the discovery of the data quality, right? And data quality, what how I see is one of the integral part of the data governance journey, right? So what why? Because it brings the trust factor associated with your data and your business assets. So yes,
Correct.
I mean let's begin this. And yeah, Shivesh, on
Yeah,
to you.
maybe briefly, Raja, your thought before we kick off.
Yeah, I think as always, it is a great to be a part of this, Shivesh. You look like a model today. Pranav, anyway, he's last time was drowsy, but now he's fully awake because of the daylight, the savings time.
But
One
I
thing
don't look like a model.
you are Pranav. So the fun factor, which when I went through the introduction, right? You guys are the video was talking about data-driven culture, data-driven technology, right? One thing it's spot on in my mind. Every day, people generate 2.5 quintillion bytes of data. That can accommodate up to 10 million Blu-ray discs. If you could stack them up, it would be taller than an Eiffel Tower. Think about the amount of data that actually dealing with. There is a fun factor behind that. Who is going to stack all the Blu-ray discs? But the thing is, this is a kind of a metaphor. We need to think about the amount of responsibilities we have, especially when we are dealing with the enterprise data management strategy.
Right.
Every day it is growing to an exponential rate, which we got to be lots of steadiness and carefulness while managing the data. That's basically what it popped up as soon as I saw the video, Shivesh.
Right. Absolutely well said, Raja. So now let's begin with a very fundamental thought around, right? So in this current world, right, and current scenario which is going, we talk more about modern data architecture, right? Since we are from a data management platform, so we know how the landscape of an enterprise architecture is changing, and data is playing a very crucial role on it. So a modern data architecture, if we define, right, I want to understand, since we are talking around data quality. So Pranav, maybe we'll start with you. How do you think data quality lies up with modern data architecture, and how important it is for current world, right?
Sure, Sivish. So, if we talk about the modern data architectures of the data lakes or the lake houses, data mesh or the data products, uh, we always see the components of analytics and the data-driven decision making, right? So, this is one of the aspects where the businesses are more and more dependent on the quality, the good quality of the data in terms of accurate and consistent data, right? So which basically improves the decision making process in an organization. That's one of the aspect. And in any landscape, right? So you typically see the ingestion part, and then you see the governance part on top of the overall layer, and then you have the consumption, right? So the downstream data feed. You also see the regulatory compliance related requirements, right? So in any modern data architecture, they must cater to the various regulatory requirements as well, right? So, and that is where data quality plays a significant role, where along with for example, right, so you're discovering the sensitive data elements, right, so within your data governance journey. But then you also need to evaluate whether your sensitive data or the PII data conforms or is consistent with the various rules which it should be associated with, right? So when we talk about the various industries and stuff like that, right, so it is it is an integral part of any modern data architecture, is what I would say.
Right, Raja, your thought over it?
I think Pranav was spot on. I think he was talking about, the modern data architecture, right? Would cater the volume of records it's growing. So that's why the metaphor which I brought in when I was beginning about the amount of data we generate, a human generate, machine generated on a day basis, it is 2.5 quintillion bytes of data. But when it comes to data quality, whether it even in a conventional era or in a modern era, the 13 dimensions which always be the same in terms of an accuracy, completeness, consistency,
Hmm.
timeliness, all the way down to security, right? There are 13 different dimensions that we are dealing with. But in the modern day architecture, in my opinion, it does lot more work than the conventional model, but it stick to that 13 dimension. But the volume is so big. That's why the modern day architecture, we are leveraging artificial intelligence technology, which is going to augment the conventional model. That is the true meaning of the power of the artificial intelligence, how it's going to contribute more to the society and more to the individual for the amount of data it generated. Because now there is no such machine on architecture if you don't rely on the scorecards for each data which you're talking about would drastically go down. So that's why modern day architecture, we pay, we not only think 365-degree dimension, but we think from every single angle in multi-dimension fashion, making sure that we address the dimension of data quality regardless the volume of records. So that's why it's more important, in my opinion, the architecture, as Pranav was mentioning about,
Right.
architecture plays a vital role in the modern day architecture in the data quality space.
Just to add to
So
that, right,
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
you say that, right, that your AI is only as smart as your data is clean, right? So
Yes.
and it is very important that your modern day AI models or your machine learning models are fed with the good quality of data. Because if your predictions are wrong, and you are depending on a machine learning and an AI algorithm, but not providing a consistent and accurate data to that particular algorithm, then so you can lose millions, right? So yeah, just wanted to add that to what Raja has said. Well said, Raja.
Yep.
So I understand these are very very crucial points and very very critical points. So let's say for an enterprise, right, specifically implementing, let's say they want to implement a data quality project, right? Specifically for an enterprise, a data quality is one of the top challenges they would want to solve before they go for mastering or publishing data in certain layer. They would want to solve this quality aspect of their enterprise, right, of their data, which is very crucial. So what are the challenges generally a DQ project, or when I say DQ, it is mostly data quality, right, a data quality project can face, right? And what are the approaches and the best practices which we should cater at very start of the project rather than learning? What Raja said was perfectly right, those 13 elements, right, accuracy and everything. So how should we frame it out, right, so that our data quality project at top of the charter is always successful, and we when we implement the entire architecture of modern data architecture, when we implement it, our foundation is solid, our foundation is strong. So maybe Pranav, you can start. You have been into a numerous data quality project and advised on that.
Sure, Suresh. More from the challenges perspective, the the most challenging aspect of a data governance come data quality project in an enterprise is the application of the data quality rules, right? I will talk about the overall journey of the data quality later, but if we are talking about challenges, right? So once the discovery of the critical data elements within the enterprise happens, then the requirement comes of the application of the data quality rules on top of these critical data elements. Now I will relate it to what Raja was saying, right? So with tons of data being poured in, right? So and the variety of
Mhm.
data being growing like anything, right? So it's basically where you can see that you see machine learning data being coming, customer interactions, you see unstructured data, you see images and stuff like that, right? So it's all kind of data which is coming in. Now when you want to discover these critical data elements within these resources and then apply these data quality rules, it becomes a huge challenge to develop such components, right? So you might be developing, let's say, thousands and thousands of ETL mappings and applications of those data quality rules within your enterprise. You don't want to do that,
Right.
right? So and that is where we require some of these frameworks which basically automates these applications of the data quality rules on top of the discovered critical data elements, as part of your data governance journey. That's one of the challenges. Second is dealing with the variety and the velocity of the data, which Raja has already covered.
Mhm.
Then it becomes very important that you implement some of the best practices around implementation of the overall data quality, right? So you cannot actually scan the full data sources, right? So that's some of the products which we see in the market analyze the data quality on sampling of the data sets, but that's also
Mhm.
not accurate, right? And that is where there is requirement that you actually apply proper incremental filters on your data sets and then analyze the data quality. You also have to implement fixing of the data quality back to the sources and stuff like that, right? So that being the second. And third is the remediation part, right? So I have been asked about the strategies of the remediation of the data quality, which actually is part of the monitoring part of the data quality as well. So so typically the products do offer their scorecards and the monitoring of the data quality as an aspect, but then this particular requirement is much broader when you go for an enterprise implementation, right? So where the customers and the stewards and the various stakeholders in an organization wants to analyze your data quality results, do the trend analysis on your data quality results. They want to slice and dice how the data quality has improved over a period of time. And that is where there is requirement of robust monitoring strategies and architectures to be put forward along with the products, right? So that is where
Mhm.
the solutioning aspect comes into picture. And the fourth one is the remediation process, right? So
Mhm. Mhm.
uh, there are automated remediation routines which you can write out of the product, right? So which is like, you cleanse the data, right? You standardize the data in terms of, okay, fine, so you compare it out with the standard list of values in your organization, done. But then how about some of those exceptions which requires a human to come in and intervene in the process of remediation of that data quality? That's another
Mhm.
thing. And one more thing I want to highlight is the remediation process, right? So when the customers want it to be fixed, but within the customer, the departments would not allow you to actually go and modify the data sets, right? So because of the
Yeah.
security
Yep.
aspects and stuff
Absolutely.
like that, right? So that is where you
Yep.
have to lay down those remediation processes, so that you have found the issues, but then you take those exceptions back to the source system and fix it in an automated fashion. um, and then we can talk in detail about what all strategies and approaches are there towards you know uh, towards actually mitigating these challenges.
Correct. Now, Raja, I know you have advised numerous clients on these aspects, right? And I have always seen you have been an advocate of data quality, right? Before fixing or before jumping into an MDM solution or data governance solution. I know you have always emphasized on this particular part. So, what do you think as a enterprise project perspective, right? Because we deal day in day out with customers, right, solving their critical business problems. That is one thing why we are here, and we want to be here to add value to each of our customers which we are working together, right? That is one thing. So what do you think, as part of our journey, or as part of uh, together, we as a journey partner for this initiatives, we should advise and we should help customers overcome this by going through this data quality phase or data quality project?
I think I remember a conversation with one of my customer. I think it happened a long time back.
Hmm.
He was a data analyst at the point. I asked him, he's a very funny guy, and I asked him, why did your data quality, it's a kind of breaking up with your database or with your data structure. And immediately, without even thinking about, he said that because it has a full of null promises. I was thinking, what do you mean by null promises? Because he was thinking from, I know he's giving a joke, but it has a lot of insights because
Hmm.
discovery is the biggest challenge in an organization,
Correct.
right? Because think about a manufacturing industry or a healthcare, they are dealing with hundreds of vendors on a daily basis, right? And the data is pouring in, day out, and and what happened is it's piling upon, and the organization, when we are coming up with a data-driven culture, we need to understand how your data is, what is the
Yes.
insights behind it. So the discovery, I would say, is the biggest challenge in an organization because the 10 years before, the data is in an unstructured format. They put everything, especially in the healthcare industry, they create a e-prescription in a paper format. The doctor write it in a paper, right? That's why medical transcription evolved during in 2010 and time frame, right? So now those data is also adding fuel to the problem because now we have discovery is a one issue. On top of it, we have good tools that could be able to discover, untap the potential insights of the data. But now we have another segment which is completely untouched, which is unstructured data. The unstructured data could be an Excel spreadsheet or on a PDF file, images, DICOM files, a whole slew of them, right? But there is no such tool basically evolved 5 years back to understand the importance, the insights of the data. So that's what the data discovery. I know that is one of the today's topic is about data discovery, right? Data discovery is the biggest challenge. Once we nail that part, the most important thing would also I would change the challenge is the people because when you come up with a data driven culture, you need a proper data governance council. The people should understand, as Pranav was talking about, the number of applications they are managing. And this application, how they interact with their other application in terms of proper interoperability. That is another
Mm.
bigger challenge. Because what happens when there is an interoperability happens, the data item or a data element transform from one form to another form. We need to capture that. That is the one of the bigger challenge in the data quality space. Once we nail the discovery part, whether through a proper data quality tools, and top of it, when we have a data governance council with the proper stakeholders in place to understand the insights about their own data and application, it
Right.
lots of credit because now both the technology and business they can collaborate pretty well.
Yes, yes.
Right.
Now in this world, I think for an enterprise, there is no separate IT and business, right? So the IT and business landscape have merged together. Now, business have as many views as an IT guy have about their data, because it is something which is driving their business. Data is something which is going to drive their business. Very well said, Raja. Now, Pranav,
And
I know you touched on a very important point of humans interacting in between, fixing in between a quality process, right? So ideally we have two approaches: either we automate quality, we find out the rules and all, we automate it, right? And then we have this aspect of human interaction, human tasks, human coming in and fixing up. So how do we differentiate in a project, right? How do you segregate that we should automate such things and we should also bring human to have some view of it, right? So that things is absolute right, someone has reviewed it also, and it has added a proper value with a proper approval system being in place, right? So I know most
Well,
of our
Shivesh,
mature tool does that.
this is
Yes.
one of your areas of expertise. The workflow management and the change request process. But it's okay.
Right.
So I'll get started with that. So I will start with the discovery aspect, right? So
Hmm.
Raja well said, right? So the discovery aspect where you counted it as a challenge, and they say, right, what you don't know about your data could be costing you, right? So so discovery aspect is very important, and as part of the discovery, where you pointed out the profiling aspect, right? So finding out that data quality issues, right? So it all the journey actually starts there, right? So the first step is profiling your data sources. So once you have defined that, okay, these are the data sources which you want to implement, bring in your data governance landscape, and identify the critical elements and run the data quality on top of it. You profile those data sets. You find out what all data quality rules has to be implemented. You interact with your business teams to define the business rules as well as the technical data quality rules. But along with the defining of those rules, you also define that if that exception happens, how it is handled, right? So as a best practice, what we always recommend is to define a data quality matrix, right? And in that matrix, we clearly define that an exception is going to be handled automatically by cleansing
Hmm.
or by maybe a reference data check, or
Hmm.
at most of the times it requires the human intervention. Why? Because
Okay.
at most of the times, the critical data elements which you are running data quality on are defined by business, right? So by the business rules. For example, if you are evaluating a tag value which corresponds to a very specific industry format, which cannot be automated, right? So it requires the human to come in. If you are checking the phone numbers, right, now, or the email IDs and stuff like that, right? So those are some of the things which can be handled. But then it comes
Hmm.
to very, very business specific attributes where a business steward must act on, right? So correct it. And then, as you said, right, so there has to be a mechanism of approval, right? So the product should offer the feature of human intervention in terms of the data stewards and the business SMEs can log in and correct those issues. But then there should be the data owner who approves those changes, right? So before
Hmm.
they are actually landing into your enterprise data warehouse or your central lake and stuff like that, right? So the workflow management aspect and the data quality that aspect in terms of the maker checker is very important. And I would request Shivesh you to add some of those
Right.
aspects in terms of the rejection part, and the once it is approved, and how that particular life cycle should be actually
Yes.
defined.
Yes, I know we have been working with a customer and we are highly recommending this process and they are seeing value of it. Raja, I am telling, we are working and they are absolutely seeing the value when we added this human component also to it. So
Yeah.
I I
One
I I,
thing,
I really understand this. Yeah, Raja, please go ahead.
there is a joke came to my mind because our conversation becomes so serious, to be
Hope
honest.
it is not on me.
Right? No, no, no. So the thing is, when Pranav was talking about human interaction, right? Um,
Right.
when remember we were talking about the AI. So when when people are so dependent on AI, they send AI to fix the problem. You know what? AI will come back and tell you that, hey, you know what? I can predict the problem, but I cannot fix it. That's above my pay grade. So that is the one thing that AI
Well said, well said.
you can rely on, right? AI cannot do it. It is a
Yes.
human. Is the human is the one. AI can augment it. But if you go and ask AI that, hey, can I able to fix it? No, no, no. Certainly it is above my pay grade. I cannot do it. So that is why we want to see how we can build a data driven culture, as Pranav was talking about, using human interaction. So the human
Right.
interaction, that's what it immediately pop up my mind, that human plays a huge role in data quality, fixing them, identifying them, and also promote a culture across the world.
Right, absolutely, Raja. Very well said over there. So that's the right statement there. Now, so we are automating a lot of these data quality is what also thinking. So I see one new aspect or uh, new situation which has come in because of this AI ML evaluation is Pranav, specifically you can come in. How can we leverage AI and ML specifically to frame out certain quality? Like we should spend less time building those rules based on industry, because world has moved very fast paced and we know the challenges which is present. So can AI help in automating certain, so those kind of rules, those kind of frameworks, and does it help in current scenario of solving this data quality challenge?
Most certainly, Shivish, right? So I will cover this question in two parts. One
Hmm.
is towards the AI/ML application towards prediction and determination of the rules, right? So that's, you can call it as automated profiling and then prediction of
Hmm.
the rules. Most of the
Hmm.
modern data platforms offer that, where
Hmm.
once you profile it, the platform, and as Raja said, right, so it's the prediction. They will not say that this is the exact rule, but they will predict it, right? So and then there's the workflow approval process where you can actually approve that particular rule to production. So again, the human intervention is required there. But yes, I mean, AI and the modern data management products in the market do offer that capability where you can profile the data, and the platform gives you all those analytics in terms of these are the data quality rules which can be applied on top of your data sets, right? So that's the discovery part. But then another aspect is which more of comes from the challenge which I covered earlier, right? So it's the application of the data quality rules on so many objects, right? So
Hmm.
after the discovery, you found 2000 tables where you have to apply the data quality, right?
Hmm.
And most of the data management products, in fact, in all of them, right? So what you have to do is to write that code, either the Python code
Yes.
or the Java or the mapping or the profile
Yes.
manually on all those objects. Now that can consume years, if not months, right? So if
Hmm.
in an enterprise where you are dealing with thousands of data sets, and writing those rules is just cumbersome and too it's not cost effective at all, right? And that is where I have been brainstorming some of those dynamic solutions where
Hmm.
you can automate this thing, right? So you have a
Okay.
set of rules,
Okay.
but then you define this framework. You can use this solution framework to automate the application of the rules. The framework is based on parameterization and reusability of the components which help you apply those rules on top of your data sources, right? So what you have to do is just provide in an Excel template that what are the data quality rules which you want to apply on what data source, and
Hmm.
when that has to be executed, right? So there's very simple Excel template. You feed it to the solution framework, and then the framework automatically applies those rules on top of those data objects and captures those exceptions in an exception database, right? And I'll cover the monitoring part of that exception database later. But and then the framework also is created with the aspect of reusability. So you reduce the
So
errors,
it is the
right? So
same framework. It is the same framework you are talking about, which we together with RC Tech and Data Info has built, which is data quality, dynamic data quality, right? Which we
that is
have been
correct. Yes, Shiv.
implementing in
That is
our
dynamic data
multiple customers.
quality. Yes,
Yes.
and to the listeners, if you want to learn more about it, please reach out to us. We can provide more details, but this is a component which is widely being used in many customers, and it's an automated data quality framework. and
Right.
it's pretty exciting. So wherever we present it, so it is always being much being welcomed. Yeah.
And I appreciate listeners who are there. Please post your questions. Please feel free to post your questions. We will take it up as time permits. We will try to bring those questions up, ask the panelist about it. So just feel free, right, to put your questions. So now, Raja, when Pranav was telling me automated, dynamic, AI will come into picture and everything, do you think this AI will become so enhanced that this entire tool of data quality and all those aspect will get replaced?
AI would say it's above my pay grade. So I think I would say this is a very interesting topic. The way we build, how we approach a customer for a data governance initiative, we conduct workshops, one or many workshops in a given probably like 6 to 8 weeks of an initial engagement. This engagement, we don't invite AI into picture. We conduct workshop, prepares hundreds of questions. We conduct interviews with the stakeholders in the business units about how is your data look like, what is your process, the process which is very important. For example, if a customer is already onboarding their customers, we want to
Mhm.
understand the process. Then, using the technologies, we automate them. So, while AI can automate much of the process, there are certain challenges which include the contextual understanding. Because AI may lack the business context. Only people will understand the business context. We can train AI to understand the business. But when we talk to the customer, when we talk to the stakeholders of each business unit who have been working with this company for 20s of years, they know their data, their business process, their policies well in detail. So AI model might propagate biases if we train on poor quality data. So what we do
Hmm.
is
Right.
we take these questions from these senior leaders with the customer side, and then we feed them back to AI model and train the model. For every customer, we have to train the AI model. This is the data structure. This is the customer's organization. This is how they onboard a customer or supplier or product into this organization. So there are a lot of things coming into picture because the one thing which AI cannot do is for critical decisions or ambiguous cases, human judgment is still necessary.
Yeah.
So basically, to answer your question, Sivesh, AI is like a sword. A human should know how to use that sword. That is why we want to give that metaphor to that community, to our users. We are trained, the warriors who knows how to handle this war. So basically, in a nutshell, we understand and train the model so that it helps us to automate the process. So certainly we are getting into the era. There are a lot of tools in the industry helps to automate the process, like Pranav was mentioning about the human task workflow. For
Right.
every tool, human task workflow is an additional functionality. That is not the only functionality to handle the entire process. So basically speaking, it's a conglomeration of efforts. Yeah, human task is important, and interviewing with the individual owners, business units to understand the business. Then parallelly, we go back and train the models. So it's a kind of a conglomeration. So that way, we deliver the value to the customer in a fashion they feel that hey, they are expediting the whole data quality life cycle by including the automation in their whole process.
Right. Very rightly said. So I just want to add to this entire discussion that you think AI is the future, but it starts with how you handle your data today. So
Yep.
that's a hooker I would want to put it over here with listening to you guys. That's a very important thing. Now, uh, let's talk about certain regulation right now with this enhanced use of data, and there is data everywhere. And with COVID came into the picture, right? Everyone started their digital business, everyone started accumulating data like crazy. And government also came up because they saw this uses and misuses of data happening every day, so regulation became stricter. There are acts coming. India has introduced DPDP Act. There has been act in every country. US has been way ahead. Now UA is implementing those. The countries, every country is seeing the value or they want to protect it. Right. That is one statement which has come. And as part of data quality, we do data discovery, data profiling, all those things, right? Specifically the discovery part of it. So, do you think when organizations are doing these discoveries or all, these compliances can hit them up or become a blocker? Or is there a way we can navigate the compliances challenges, acts challenges while implementing the solution?
I think
Yeah.
one of the, I would say one of the best question, Suresh, you asked, because this is the most important factor. For an example, a company, a private organization getting into IPO, right? Or a healthcare industry getting into Six Sigma,
Hmm.
or any company moving to the next level in the quality process. For example, a pharmaceutical industry, they have already a very thorough quality control procedure, but they want to get additional certification, make sure their organization wants to improve the market value of their own company. So they need to provide certification saying that they are ISO 9001 or all the different certification like a SOX compliance certification, GDPR certification. They want to include just to promote their market value, one
Hmm.
aspect in the revenue side of it. And the second is the very important thing is they are giving guarantee to the investors saying that we handle our patient very well. We handle the our deliverable. For example, if it is a manufacturing industry for a vehicle like a motor vehicle, all the components are very genuinely tested and it went through a proper quality control process. So data governance, that's the most important aspect in delivering the value to the customer in terms of the compliance perspective. For an example,
Hmm.
a global organization, they have a huge market value, let's say in North America, but the
Hmm.
suppliers are all over the world. So
Correct.
every country, they have to deal with the data sharing policy. They cannot share all the data to the organization because every country in the geographical region, they have a very strict policies making sure you are dealing with such a sensitive information, so make sure you adhere to the policies. And similarly, your suppliers, when they send the data back, when they deliver the products, your parts to the customer or this whole organization, they have to go through a lot of quality control process as well. They need to get certified in terms of the value they are delivering it to this consumer. Make sure they all are adhered to the standards. So that's why
Mhm.
GDPR or SOX compliant or any of the certification in terms of regulatory compliance plays a very big role in terms of their market value in giving the confidence to their consumers and customers, making sure this company is worth of an investment in terms of their long-term goals. And parallel,
Mhm.
the consumer will come back to you for repetitive business because they believe that this company is delivering value to them, provide value to their human life. That's why the GDPR or any regulatory compliance is a paramount of importance for any organization.
Yeah, absolutely right. Pranav, your say or your take on this?
Well, I don't have anything to say it in different words, but see, if you take any industry per se, right? So
Mm.
Raja pointed out the GDPR compliance. I would highlight, let's say, if you take financial institutions in US, right? So the organizations are supposed to comply with Basel III. They have to comply with anti-money laundering, the AML compliance. Uh, Not only banking but retail as well as, right? So they also have the requirement to follow the KYC process and the customer process. They are supposed to provide accurate customer reporting to the regulatory bodies, right? So from the banking perspective, the federal authorities require the banks to provide that information. There is regulatory boards and the federal authorities in every single industry, be it the airlines or the healthcare or the financial institutions. If you take healthcare industry, you might be looking at HIPAA compliance, right? So where the
Mm.
hospitals and the healthcare industry is actually supposed to maintain the patient's data in an accurate format. Now, how do you actually ensure, right, so that you are compliant with these policies and your data is reported accurately to these federal and the regulatory compliance organizations? The only way
Mm.
is that you maintain a clean data, right? So you analyze your data, you profile your data, you understand your data, and you report and comply with all these regulations and compliance. And that is where data quality becomes much important. It is the most important aspect of any data management landscape, right? Another aspect is data. So we are actually talking about the data governance aspect, right? So
Yes,
so
yes.
when so the overall data governance, in addition to the business assets and the technical assets, right? So you have cataloged your data assets, you also have cataloged your business metadata, but there also is the requirement of governing your policies, right? So let's say you have the customer onboarding process, or you have the, in our region, so the most uh, predominant use case which we are solving using the data
Hmm.
governance products is the personal data protection law for Saudi Arabia, right? So which is basically
Correct.
mandated by National Data Management Office. Now, what it
Hmm.
requires is that all the customer centric attributes, the various data which is captured for a customer should be preserved, should be actually protected, uh, and then so the it should be actually stored in that particular format which is right, so reported in a way. Now, that is something which is required by that particular compliance and the regulatory process. And how do you ensure it? By only maintaining a clean version of the data. So you maintain it in a way that that the data is accurate, it is consistent, it is not duplicated. The elements which are required to be complete should be complete, right? So that becomes the completeness aspect. And then you avoid duplication, right? So because that might cost a lot to the organization. So that is where the
Right.
uniqueness aspect of the data quality comes into picture. Yeah, that's what I would say, Shivesh.
Right. No, no, that's very rightly said on compliances specifically, right? Because we are solving a lot of those things. Be it North America region, I know me, Raja, we are totally involved in solving some of these very critical challenges. Specifically in Middle East region, I know we have been together talking to a lot of customers. Now, when we talk to these lot of customers, some of these customers are very startup, right, Raja? And they are, let's say, they are small businesses, SMEs, and all. So what they say when we go ahead and talk all these jargons with them, they say, I don't have big budgets, right? I don't have big budgets to implement it. I will do whatever best business want, I will accumulate it. And then this is the problem which enterprise or the larger enterprise solve. This is something which is a luxury for an enterprise. We will handle it later part of our solution when the real challenges will come, but we'll not look at that today. The primary concern are the big budgets, right, is what. So I was suggesting to one of them, when you have, small business does not struggle with big budgets, they struggle because of lack of strategies. So do you think this particular quality aspect, governance aspect, should be your go-to criteria even for a startups or even for a small businesses before they go and juggle out into a larger lion, right, which has become an elephant in the house?
I think, Shivesh, I love your questions today. I really literally love because they're very strategic. Whether it's small customers or big customers, the one thing I will always think that, hey, I don't talk the jargons,
Yeah.
technology jargons. I tell them that, do you like good coffee or bad coffee? I tell them that, oh, good coffee. Mm, good coffee is like a good data is like a good coffee. It
Right.
fuels your decision. But if it is bad, you will end up cleaning up the mess for rest of the day. Which one you want?
Yes.
I start the conversation like that. It is a good data is like a fuel in your decision. You are small, I understand. You don't have budget right now, but introduce a process. The process, which includes, need not to be a full scale data governance. It has to be a simple Excel spreadsheet. You define all your data elements. You define the important piece here is how you define your data. For
Hmm.
all, let's say a small company, they have, let's say, 100 critical data elements. For
Right.
100
Yes.
critical data elements, don't rely on the bigger tools, right? But put them in a spreadsheet saying that, hey, this data elements, let's say 100 of them, this is the definition, this is the classification, this is the taxonomy, this is basically the data quality completeness, what I should do. Try to maintain it. So over the period of time, when you have a budget, you hand over this to the governance engineers. They could feed it into the system. Until then, you manage, make sure the most important feed is you need to understand your own data, whether it is in a bigger data governance tool or in a simple spreadsheet, but you must invest time on it. If you don't have money, that's a different story, but you must have a time to invest to manage these artifacts and data sets. So that way, it's going to fuel your decision process.
Absolutely well said. Yeah, Pranav, your thought on small businesses and startups.
Well, I would say, Shivesh, I think the startups and the small businesses, they had the biggest opportunity to solve their data quality right now, or the data
Hmm.
strategy, because the bigger organizations have already messed it up, and that's why they, they need a broader enterprise application. So they have this opportunity and a chance to implement these strategies right away, so that they don't mess it up in future, right? So and well said, right? So when you said that a proper data strategy is very important for a particular small business enterprise or the startups, right? So from the scratch of their data management landscape and the journey, and good quality of data is good coffee, as well as it is required for any modern data architecture landscape, be it your product information management, be it your
Hmm.
master data management program, be it your advanced analytics, or your your AI/ML journeys, where you want to feed these good cleaner data to your models, to your analytics engines, your SaaS models or whatever, right? So yes, no challenge there, right? So it's just utmost important that the small businesses start implementing these strategies, and think big around it, right? So because this is just an opportunity to define it right now.
Right. So I have we will take few questions, Raja and Pranav, if you permit, right?
So,
So I have Mr.
Sure.
Manoj Kumar who is asking from LinkedIn that how do we ensure the ethical use of AI specifically when processing sensitive data? So we have discussed this, but yeah, in briefly, if you want to answer this.
Pranav, you want to go?
Yeah, so this is more from the where you want to restrict uh, the use of the models so that they are not going crazy, right? So they you want the ethical use, ensure that that the AI is ethically used, and that can only happen if so if the certain aspects of your data are protected, right? So and and probably Manoj, you have mentioned it already, that processing of the sensitive data, right? So that is where if you're feeding the, because AI depends on the data, right? So AI is an engine, right? So but it relies on the complex processing, or the and the vast processing on top of vast amount of data. But to actually ensure that the AI engine is predicting the results on top of the data, which is ethical, we must protect the data, right? So if you are not feeding the sensitive information to AI, obviously the predictions will not be so on top of it, right? So for example, if you have exposed your sensitive data in terms of the customers emails and the customers phone numbers and their addresses, which is PII data, if you have actually exposed the credit card information of the customers, which is PCI data, health information and stuff like that, right? Customer sentiments or the interaction data which is exposed, uh, most of the times it is exposed for the analytics purposes, but then it should be controlled, right? So, and that is where the products in the modern data landscape provide these capabilities to protect your data as well, right? So, and some of these references is what you call it as access governance, right? So how do you actually protect the data, as well as how do you actually ensure that the data is actually provided access to the right people, right? So which
Mhm.
do, are which are supposed to have the access, right? So, and that is where the data privacy management aspect of the data management is very important, where you actually define the access governance rules, the data sensitive data access rules, right? So protection of it, and and plus the protection in a way that it is the user defined protection. It is dynamic, in terms of that it is not actually encrypted on the database, but based on what access rules you are providing, it is protected in that particular manner. I would
Yeah,
not elaborate on this. I will have Raja comment on it as well. Yeah, please,
that's a great
Raja.
question. A great update, Pranav. You know, I don't know how many of you heard about Timnit Gebru. She is the ethical officer from Google.
Mhm.
Google invested billions of dollars just to onboard this resource. She's a professor from, I think, Kenya or South Africa. She joined Google specifically for a Gemini project. It is a very important role for a bigger organization, but not getting to details. But the important piece is, as Pranav was mentioning about, establish a clear ethical guidelines. And importantly, AI is a machine. You should have a common sense. A customer should have a common sense to share what kind of data to the AI engine. That is the most important piece. We call that's called data minimalization process. Don't share everything, as Pranav was talking about, credit card information, all these things. Provide the data which is very critical for your business, and on top of it, mask the data which you feel that is very sensitive.
Right.
So you don't give this opportunity to AI to understand the sensitive data and create a unfair statement or unbiased statement. This is very important, that ethical component is very important in AI. So that's why the privacy policies not only to be trained by the human, but also we should train the machine for the policies. What is the
Hmm.
data sharing policies? We need to train the machines. On top of it, data minimalization is very important. Share the data which is very applicable to this technology. If you need to end up sharing this data, mask them. When you do these strategies, then it's a very important. The AI can handle that situation. It won't read and learn the sensitive information, but it provide the value to the customer, exiting the importance of the sensitivity and clearly define the value to the customer. So that's basically the 2 cents that I could give it to the community.
Right.
And the
Thanks.
minimization is actually one of the aspect of any data privacy, compliance, regulatory requirement as well. Well said, Raja. Thank you.
Thank you. I think
Yeah. So,
in the Timlit Gebru is one of the case study in my college. Basically, they invested like billions of dollars. Google invested, and later on, this ethical officer is went and Google lost. I think recently, Gemini lost that market value, right? That is because of all this. The ethical officer role is so critical in any organization, especially when the company is $1 billion mark and they have tons and tons of data to be dealt with. The ethical officer role is creating a paramount of importance in terms of data minimalization, which you are talking about.
right. So, hope so. We have answered to Manoj's questions, but feel free to drop by. Feel free to drop us an email and for any further clarifications. Yeah. So I have another questions which is in front of you, gentlemen. Can you please share how organization can balance the need for robust data governance with the agility required for rapid innovation?
That's a
Yeah,
great
we
question.
have been talking. We have been talking around this. I know that that's a very good question, by the way. But maybe Pranav or Raja, anyone wants to take few minutes to just brief it around?
One thing I
Yeah,
always
I'll
tell.
I'll start. I'll just say that that data governance is not a destination, right? It's a journey,
Hmm.
right? So you always start small, you think big, right? So and it will never complete. Your data governance will keep on growing, keep on evolving with more and more use cases, more and more critical elements, more and more discoveries to be made in your platform. So I don't think that should be ever challenged with your with your rapid innovation, right? So you look into your data governance program as a evolving journey always. That is what I would say.
Well spot on for now. You cannot swallow more than you chew, right? Or you cannot chew more than you swallow. So the
I'm
thing
not
is,
drowsy today.
yeah, so that's basically a modular approach to what's his name is Karamul Islam. So the thing
Yes. Yes.
in a robust environment, you split into modular way, make it very small, right? So that way when you define your the near term benefits versus the long term benefits, for the long term benefits, yeah, you may have hundreds of CDEs needs to be onboarded, but split them into 10 smaller modular chunks and define the agility around it. They're much easier because for 50 different CDEs, you would end up interviewing like 3 or 4 data governance experts or business units. That way, you can easily mock the data definition. You can really build an innovation and also an agility towards it. That's basically our approach. To make it smaller and modular approach would minimize the value, not only the value, minimize the risk and improve the value over the period of time.
Right. So I see another question. I will take that up. Nowadays, people are moving to AWS and Google, which provide overall solutions. So how Informatica MDM dealing with it? Okay. So most probably what he wanted to ask is, we have now bigger players like AWS and Google and all hyperscalers, right, on cloud platform. They are bringing up their all tools. So why specifically for data we are using Informatica? So I'll briefly answer this by saying that if, I will give a cricket analogy because I am a cricket fan, right? I know we have Harbhajan Singh and we have lower order batsmen who have scored century, but we do not send them at opening, right? We always send and believe that Sachin Tendulkar will come in and open and play that. So you need the specific tools. You need the one who is pioneer. You need certain tools who do end to end of these aspects, not are at each of these platforms. I know everyone has their own potential, everyone has their own greatness to it, but the specialty remains always with the pioneers, right? Someone who is doing in this field. So we do not talk on specific companies or a specific platform, but since it was one of the questions, so it is about the specialty. So which does a specific thing, right? So yeah, would you guys want to take it or?
Yeah, I think I can share because we all from the same family, right? Uh, this is
Right.
our question. Oh man, I can go back and answer that with a fight group, right? So I'll tell you what. Any cloud environment could evolve. Nothing beats Informatica. I will tell you why. Because it has hundreds and hundreds of native connective tools. It's out of the box. You name it. That is the one of the biggest challenge for a data discovery, which one of the other user asked this question, how to perform data discovery in a multi-cloud environment from Saurabh.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
the thing is, AWS, I cannot undermine them. They are great cloud environment, great ecosystem. They have hundreds and hundreds of different components, right? But the what's most important thing in the data discovery process is I should know how many applications are running in multiple cloud environment in a diversified environment, right? It could be from flat files, JSON, Oracle, SQL Server, SFDC, all these things, name it. In AWS, that connectivity lacks. Here in Informatica, you have hundreds and hundreds of connectivity. It's natively inbuilt within the tool. So it simplifies the very complex scenario which we are talking about, the data discovery component. So you could just plug in to any connector through the connectors to any cloud environment or any native environment, on-prem environment, bingo, it just connects and pull the data back into the system. It helps you to accelerate the process of data discovery.
Right. No, that's great. I know we have many more questions, but we are running short of
I
time.
think
So
we have
we will.
lots of question popping up, Shivesh, at
Yeah,
the
yeah, I know.
minutes. That's good. That's good.
So that's thanks, guys. You are interacting with us. That really encourages us and pushes us to do more such things, right? We will respond to each of your questionnaires very soon. We will come back to on it, and we will take it on our next episode also. We are coming with episode 3 very soon. So please, if you have not registered with us, do register. Please feel free to reach us out on LinkedIn. Raja, me, Pranav are available on LinkedIn, right? Reach out to us over emails. We'll be happy to help you guys. Either you are an individual or a business. We will always love to speak challenges, right? And we would further do these episodes, right? This is a long-term episodes which we are doing. We'll accumulate this, send you guys also. But in meantime, if you really want to touch base around, talk around, open for a good coffee, by the way, Raja.
One closing note, Sivesh, I would like to add that also, in addition to what you mentioned.
Raja, too much coffee is also not good.
Okay. Anyways, so the thing is, if there are bigger organization also joined in our conference today, if you
Right.
guys have any data challenge, we are not only talkers, we are also doers. So reach
Yes.
out to us. We'll come and help you out to set up the environment, help you to understand your business, to understand your data. We could lay out a data governance strategy for you within a 6 weeks timeframe.
Right. Great, great connecting to you guys. Always insightful. This will, I'll sleep well probably after having such a good conversation, right? You always clear your
Have a
mind
good
after
feeling,
speaking to such
good
great,
vibe. Huh?
right?
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone who has chimed in. Thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Let's tell you the data info story. It all started in the year 2020. Remember the COVID-19 pandemic and the mass layoffs? It was a tough time for many. But like they say, wherever there is a challenge, there is also an opportunity. And that's the story of data info. Like every new venture, our beginning was also small and humble. A 100 square foot office, 3 people, and a simple dream to help organizations utilize their data assets to the fullest. And this big dream rested on one firm belief: India is more than its metropolitan cities. The next big innovation of the future will come from the towns and villages of this country. The first validation of our belief came early. Within the first week of our operations, one of the largest global IT companies joined us as our first client and partner. And the rest is, as they say, history. Only 3 months after our inception, we inaugurated our new office in the presence of the Member of Parliament Shireen Nishikant Dubey and eminent government officials at STPI Davgar. From 3 lone dreamers, we soon became a family of 8. And then gradually, we took this number to 20 in 2022, 40 in 2023. We might have been a new company, but we more than made up for it with our talent, passion, and commitment. As we grew, adding one client after another, our team grew with us, learning, implementing, and evolving with each day. Today, we are more than 80 tightly knit family members sharing the same beliefs and dreams. At Data Info, we greatly value work-life balance because we want to build an environment where each member can thrive and feel empowered. We love what we have built in these last 3 years together, and that's why we are a great places to work certified organization. As more and more talented people joined us in our journey, we began spreading our wings far and wide. Today, we not only have 3 offices in India, Deoghar, Ahmedabad, and Bangalore, but have a strong presence internationally through our offices in Dubai and the US. As certified partners of Informatica, Reltio, Riversand, Snowflake, and many others, we assure our clients of world-class technology implementation and delivery capabilities that's second to none. We are extremely thankful to our esteemed clients for trusting us, and the global fraternity for recognizing our commitment and showering us with numerous awards. Most of all, we are thankful to our community. They have always inspired us to dream bigger and do better. As we celebrate our 3rd anniversary this year, we want to congratulate and thank the entire Data Info team, our clients, and the industry for believing in the India that lives beyond its cities. We promise to continue pushing the envelope through our expertise and innovation as we usher our clients into a new world of possibilities and data-driven digital transformation.